Hi guys, what's up? Yes, it's finally happening. I'm starting my podcast. I know, way overdue, right? I'm your host, Rheanna, and this is Recreate the Conversation. So, it's been on my heart for a while now to do this podcast, a few years actually. And I've done a pretty good job of ignoring that call. Well, I'm here to say that I'm finally taking the plunge and I'm starting now. Everything has a beginning, and I believe that this is mine. I'm not trying to go for perfection here. I'm literally just having a conversation and breaking down conversations within my community and just, talking, literally. I look at this as a personal diary of a sort. It's a way for me to grow as an individual within myself and also to help others grow on a journey with me. Um, so that's really that. So I'll start by introducing myself and getting you a little bit more familiar with me. I'm 29. I'm a black woman. I was born to West Indian parents, specifically Dominica and St. Kitts. Shout out to both of my islands. Love them dearly. I've spent a lot of time between both of them. I myself was born in Montgomery, Alabama, but I spent a good amount of time growing up within different systems, like school systems specifically in Dominica. So, like, I went to convent prep, I went to convent high for a semester. I've also done school in St. Kitts, like summer schools and stuff. And then I did a good bit of my education in Alabama as well. So I have a really good mix. I'm kind of like a military brat in that sense, where I've kind of been in and out of different school systems. That has its pros and cons, which we'll probably get into in a different episode. But yeah, I am a Leo sun, a Libra moon, and a Sag rising. If you're into astrology, that may mean something to you. If you're not, I'm still going to make it mean something to you. Essentially, as a Leo sun, I have very big energy, really playful at heart, um, creative, definitely creative. I love to draw, I love to write, I love music, I love the arts, anything like that. I remember growing up, I used to make handmade cards to family members. I would draw my own skew, like the little skew barcode at the back. That's how serious it was. I actually have family who have saved these over the years, and it's so interesting to see some of the things that you've made. And so, yeah, that was like my thing. And I never knew that I would create a brand for myself, but in my little 10-year-old mind, I would draw my little name. Macri is, if you ever see me on social media, my name is love_Macri, and the Macri is for McIntyre Rheanna. But I just shorthanded it and like MAC, and that has been my email and my sign on for years. But I realized that I didn't realize it then, I'm sorry, that I would be building a brand for myself at that age. And so now I've kind of built a different kind of brand, which is Recreate. Um, and I don't know, it's like looking back in hindsight, you never see those things until you're at this stage when you're building something, and it's like, wow, have I always been inclined towards this? But anyway, I am a Libra moon. So, what that means is essentially I love partnerships, friendships, relationships. I mean, all kinds of ships because I really enjoy cruises as well. That's like one of my favorite ways to have a vacation or take a family vacation. Um, I love beautiful spaces, aesthetics. I'm really into the interior design, even though I don't think I have an eye for it per se, like how I see other people do, but I still enjoy it. Um, So that's a Libra energy in me. I'm also a Sag rising, so that's how other people see me. And so I know there's a little joke about Sagittarius because they can be a lot to deal with. I definitely think that I have people look at me. I'm a very direct communicator. I think people think that I can be very like cut to the meat. I kind of don't sugarcoat things. I don't know. I love to travel. I kind of have that non-committal, like I don't feel like I should live in one place type of energy. And that's really more so towards my childhood that kind of created the person I am today. But I do have a lot of that Sagittarius type of energy, and that's how people see me. So that's my astro chart in a nutshell. What else? Professionally, I am a scientist, which actually sounds very cool, and I am very cool, so thanks. But no, I'm just kidding. I'm so corny. That's so cute, right? No, no, but for real. I'm a medical lab scientist, and essentially, what I do, I work in a lab in a hospital or like a reference lab. And when you go to the hospital and your doctor takes, your blood work and your urine or whatever, he's going to send it to the lab. And I am the person who will analyze it, and I'll send back over the results, and your doctor will talk to you about what they have found. So hi, ma'am, Jane Doe. I just got your lab results back, and you have high cholesterol, or your glucose is low, or your vitamin D is low. Whatever the case is, I'm the person behind the scenes that is doing the testing on your blood work or whatever. So that's what I do. I love my job. It's kind of like a hidden profession. And honestly, this is probably for a later episode, but if you are a college student and you're wondering what direction to go in and you can handle science, I would go into that career. I think it's a beautiful career to get into, and you make pretty decent money coming out of college right away. So just a little, I don't know, you can take that advice or not, but I'm telling you, I can change your life with that. So anyway, there's that. um, I've been doing it now for about 6 years. And when I first started in my career, you're green. It's like any other job that you first start. You're kind of shy, you're green, you don't really know what you're doing. You feel, you don't feel as confident. And right now, in my career today, I am much more into it. Like I feel more confident about my judgment calls, and I've just gained a lot of confidence over the years working. A lot of you may know that I used to work nights or the night shift, and it was very difficult for me. But I did the best with what I had, and I remained positive, and so that's that. I think when people meet me, especially as we work in a lab, because it's kind of like a lab rat, so I'm locked up in a lab all day, if you will, kind of thing. And when people meet me, it's like you have such a people person energy. Like, why are you in the lab? Because like we're kind of weird and a little bit eccentric, and I am weird and I am eccentric. I proudly claim that, so that's not an insult to me. But I don't know. I feel like I was born to be the light in a dark place, and the profession that I work in, it can be very dark because essentially you're always kind of troubleshooting mistakes. And I read somewhere where jobs that are constantly looking for mistakes of things and making sure that there's no problems and stuff, you can kind of take on this mentality of always looking for a mistake, and it kind of spills over into your actual life. And so I definitely see that in my profession. A lot of baby boomers are in my profession, and they struggle a lot with, I don't know, I want to call it like just being miserable, because a lot of them are. And it's has a lot to do with just allowing a job to create an identity for you, and they just live, breathe, eat the job, and they forget to be themselves, and so they kind of morph into this really negative person. And this is actually probably any job, right? But I see this specifically in my job, obviously, because that's all I've been doing. And I I want to be the type of person who can spread a little bit of light in the darkness, and that's kind of how I see myself when I'm at work. I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I don't have bad days. Hell, I had a bad day earlier this week, and I wanted to curse out one of my coworkers, but guess what? It didn't happen because I recognize that I'm in control a lot more than I did when I first started my job. So that's like a in-depth little deep dive into what I do professionally. So moving right along, I am a questioner, and if you've I don't know, but there's a woman, her name is Gretchen Rubin. She wrote a book called The Four Tendencies. I recommend, 10 recommend. Like, get it, read it, take the quiz, and see where you are, see what you are. It's all about how you handle inner and outer expectations. And I know for me, prior to knowing this knowledge, I probably was just going through life. And, I'd always been a person who asked a lot of questions and I wanted to know more. I always want to dive deep. Like, my first thing when anyone tells me anything is a slew of questions to understand it. And, excuse me. And when I took the quiz and I realized that I was a questioner, it just opened my mind to how I process information. And instead of rejecting the way that I was processing information, I accepted that this was just natural to me. And I recognize that not everybody views the world through my eyes, hint, hint, my husband. So it was easier for me to recognize that, like, you know what? He's not seeing it through my lens. And so is everybody else. They're not seeing it through the way that I see it. And it helped me to be okay with that. So I highly, highly recommend, she has a podcast, she has books, she has courses. I mean, guys, her name is Gretchen Rubin. Rubin is her last name, how you spell that. I would Google it. I would take the quiz. See what you are. Let's talk about it. What are you? I'm so interested. I always tell people to take it. And it's so good to just see and kind of understand a part of yourself that you may not have understood before. There are 4 types. You can be a questioner, which I am, an obliger, you can be a rebel, and you can be an upholder. So essentially, an upholder is a person who you don't have to tell them what to do. Like, they know that they have to get something done and they're going to do it. They're the person that will get up at 6 a.m. and work out. They're going to go to work on time. They're going to eat their dinner on time. They're going to eat healthy. They adhere very well to their habits and their schedules. They're the rule followers. Rebels, on the other hand, are kind of like the exact opposite. They only do things that they want to do. This is the category that my husband falls into. So that explains a lot. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But he fell into the rebel category, and rebels do not adhere to inner or outer expectations. They truly do the things that they want to do, period. The way that you would kind of get a rebel to do something that you wanted to do was to challenge them, because they have a very unique relationship with how they view challenges. And, that's honestly your best bet. The next group would be an obliger. Most people are obligers, so they readily achieve outer expectations, right? So you can ask them to come into work early or ask them to do something for you at work, and they will readily achieve that, but they will never achieve a goal for themselves. So they won't be able to eat healthy without outer accountability. They won't be able to go to the gym unless somebody is counting on them. Some people look at this as a negative trait, or a weak tendency, but it's not. It just means that individual needs outer accountability, but there's weakness and strength in all of the signs. I mean, well, they're not signs, they're tendencies. So, it's not really supposed to be seen in a negative light. The last one is a questioner, which I am. So as a questioner, I make all expectations inner expectations. So I ask myself, if someone were to ask me, hey, Rheanna, can you help me do this thing at work? I would first think to myself and ask myself, do I want to do this? Is there a benefit for me? How will this, how can I do this? Do I have time? I'll go through all these questions on my own first. And if it's something that makes sense for me, then I will do the thing. A good example of ways where it doesn't work. So my previous job wanted us to start parking on the 3rd floor. And I worked nights. I was parking on the 1st floor, which is closest to the door to the emergency room. And I said to myself, this makes no sense. I was, single woman walking alone at night to get to my car, from my car to the hospital, and I wasn't about to park even further away from the door at night. And so I was like, this makes no sense, and I did not adhere to the rule. And that is typical questioner behavior. Because it made no sense to me, I did not adhere to the rule. So that's just another little deep dive there of like something that is like a key like description of who I am, or just trying to get you to know more about me. And so I hope that you guys check that out and see what you are, and hopefully it will help you on your journey of self-discovery as it did me. So moving right along, I manifested my husband into my life. That's a random little detail, but it is true. And I'll probably have a separate episode where I talk in depth about this. So I'm just going to put a little tidbit of that right now. I broke my ankle when I was about 11. It was on a skating trip. I remember it specifically because it was so painful. It was the worst pain I'd ever felt in my life. I had never broken a bone prior to that, and I've never broken a bone after, knock on wood. That's me knocking on wood. I'm a little bit superstitious, so whatever. Keep your opinions to yourself. My love language is gift giving and physical touch and quality time. So if I had to rank them, that would be like the rank that they would go to. With gift giving, it's how I love others. Whereas with physical touch and quality time, that's how I receive love. And when I first read the book, I immediately resonated with gift giving. I love to give gifts. I mean, honestly, it's really how I show love. And I recognize that instantly. I've seen it in myself as a child, and as an adult looking back on my life, I recognize that very strongly. How I receive love from others is through physical touch and quality time. When someone spends time with me, whether it be to share a meal or to sit down and have a conversation and listen to me talk and give me their undivided attention, wow, that is just amazing to me. Also, I also receive love through touch, holding my hand, giving me a hug. It doesn't have to be sexual touch. I just want to be held, or I don't know, like just feeling the physical presence of someone else next to me. I think it's just so important. And so that's how I receive love. But yeah, just a little nutshell. I think that's not everything. I barely scratched the surface, to be honest, but that's an in-depth little deep dive into your host. And as we get to talk more about the podcast and go over other conversations, I'm sure that you'll get to know me even more intimately than I have already tried to get get you to know from this one single episode. And I hope that you will stick along for the ride. We'll be discussing a lot of different things that are on my heart, things that I think that are important. It could be as simple as I saw a meme and I wanted to dive deeper into it. I'll sometimes ask about like things that you guys want to discuss. And we'll just kind of grow together. We'll kind of go from there. Sometimes you can feel like, oh, I have to have a theme. I need to have music. I need to have all these things. And I'm not telling you that I don't feel that way. I'm only saying that I'm being my authentic self. I'm not a perfect human being. I'm being super, super accepting of my flaws in 2020. And so this is me. This is who I am. And, I hope that you stay along for the ride. So that's that. I hope you guys have a really blessed day. I kind of want to end all of my, recordings or my episodes with quotes that inspire me. And this one, I was scrolling one day on Instagram and I saw a meme and it said, maybe today isn't it was like, it was about having a bad day. And it said, maybe the day had a bad you. And I don't know, that really resonated with me because there are times you have bad days, fine, like we get that. But there are also times when the day itself is fine and you're just in a funk and it doesn't have anything to do with the day. And it's like, maybe the day had a bad you. And I don't know, I just like that perspective twist. I really enjoyed like thinking through that. And so I hope that it impacts you in some way. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. But have a good day. Have a good night. Send blessings your way. I hope that Oshun blesses you. I hope that you feel positive. I hope that you affirm yourself. I hope that you remove self doubt and that you stop the negative talk. I know it can be easy to do that. I know it can be easy to say, oh, I'm so dumb, I'm so this, I'm so that. But I hope that in this one space, in this little time that we have together, that you kind of let all of that go and you recognize that if you accept yourself, that's really it. You've done the work. That's it. And so yeah, I'm signing off and I hope that y'all have a good one. Bye.